If you came to me and said, Alex, after 3 months of using the S26 Ultra, should I go out and buy this phone? Is it really worth it? I tell you, I can think of 10 reasons why you should go out and buy this phone. But I can also think of 10 reasons why you shouldn't. But before all that, I do want to cover the 4 most controversial topics surrounding the S26 Ultra at the moment. And the first is that PWM flicker, the eye strain. Is it actually a real world problem? Well, it absolutely is a problem. There's dozens of posts on Reddit and other forums with people complaining about headaches and dizziness and even going as far as returning the phones. And Samsung have confirmed the display runs at 480Hz PWM with no DC dimming toggle, which is low compared to something like the OnePlus 13R at 2160Hz. So if you are PWM sensitive, this is real and I do take it seriously, but after 3 months of usage with this phone pretty much glued to my face, I haven't had a single problem, not a flicker, not a headache, and I've certainly not felt ill with it, which kind of leads me to believe that this is clearly only affecting a very small select group of people. So let me know in the comment section if you've had an issue with the S26 Ultra's display. Second is the camera fogging. Ice Universe posted about it, Samsung members threads are absolutely full of it, and there's even articles encouraging you not to go on holiday with the S26 Ultra. But here's the thing again, I've had this phone for 3 months since the winter in Wales, a country that is renowned for being cold and wet, and I've not had a single issue with it. Does that mean the problem doesn't exist? Absolutely not. I've even seen the video evidence of cameras fogging up myself. But again, I think what I'm trying to say is that this must just be localized to very specific units of the S26 Ultra batch. Just because one person is experiencing it doesn't mean that you're going to experience it. My third controversial point is the bigger 4mm selfie cutout, and I will just outright defend Samsung here. People are calling this a downgrade. Side by side with the S25 Ultra, sure, you can tell, but in daily use, I mean, I just don't notice it. And the reason I do defend Samsung is because they've made way for a wider field of view on the front camera, which is a genuine upgrade with very little trade-off. And number 4 is one that I'm a little bit more split on, and that's the whole titanium situation. Do I miss the titanium? Absolutely yes. There's a weight and premiumness to titanium that you just don't get with aluminium. I also miss that classic note feeling of the S25 Ultra's body, and in a way, Samsung kind of did us over on the price here because they downgraded to titanium, but didn't downgrade the price. But I'll be really honest, the S26 Ultra is more comfortable to hold. The thinner body, the rounded edges, the slightly lighter weight, it just sits better in your hand for longer sessions. That, and it does provide better thermals. So it's not really a negative for me, it's a trade-off, and I kind of understand why Samsung did it. After addressing those 4 major controversies, you might be thinking that I'm absolutely in love with the S26 Ultra. But I'm not. There's still several compromises with the S26 Ultra that I just really struggle to get past on a daily basis. So let's get the bad stuff out of the way first. And number 1 is Samsung's flagship feature, the privacy display. It's awesome, it's unique, and beyond its core functionality, I've even found myself using it at nighttime to reduce eye strain. It's genuinely brilliant. Except the trade-off here is just huge. Compared to the S25 Ultra, the screen is objectively dimmer by some margin and has much less pop to it. Even when the feature is turned off, you are sacrificing peak brightness just by having the tech baked into the screen. And number 2 is the camera zoom. I constantly see people in the comment section saying, I'm not upgrading for my S23 Ultra because the S26 Ultra zoom is AI slop. Here's the thing about those people. They're right. The zoom, for me, is only useful for reading things very far away. I'd never ever use it to take an actual photo, which kind of makes me think, what am I actually paying for there? Number 3, we're getting around 40 gigabytes of bloatware on a $1,300, $1,400, $1,500 phone, depending on what storage option you go for. And on top of that, whilst things like Camera Assistant and Theme Park are absolutely awesome, they're yet more things that you need to install to get more functionality. Why can't we have them integrated into the phone? Number 4 is the anti-reflective coating, and I've gone on and on about this, but it does make for a noticeably worse experience on the S26 over the S25 Ultra, and on top of all the other display issues, I mean, it feels like a huge downgrade. Number 5 is the camera wobble. Again, compared to the S25 Ultra, it's noticeably worse. Number 6 is another minor one but builds on these frustrations, and that's the Android Auto disconnect. It's not an issue I had with my S25 Ultra, but since connecting my S26 Ultra to my BMW i4, it's constantly disconnecting itself. And the most frustrating part about this is that every time it disconnects, I have to pull over to unlock my phone and reconnect Android Auto. It's honestly driving me insane. Number 7 is still no Qi 2 charging, and I know you're all tired of hearing it from people like me, but it is a real problem. It means you've got to go out and buy a case if you want to make use of magnetic accessories. And the issue there is so many of them can't actually support the weight of this phone because it is a big phone. I'd really love to be able to just pop my phone on a MagSafe holder without having to have its case on. If you do need a case that can support the S26 Ultra and can support magnetic accessories, Nereva built their whole case system around magnets, so I'll put a link to their phone cases in the pinned comment and the description. Number 8 is 3 digital assistants, and don't get me wrong, I definitely see the benefits to this. I love that Samsung are being so open, but after a massive push to Gemini last year, why has Perplexity now come along? I do really appreciate that the Perplexity Assistant is free, but is this going to be a new thing every year? Number 9 is a real shame, and that is the S Pen is just boring now. Aside from not having Bluetooth functionality yet again, I just think it's weird that the one thing that makes the Ultra series so unique in comparison to other phones seems to have been all but abandoned by Samsung. Samsung have definitely got the capacity to innovate. Why are they not doing anything with the S Pen? And number 10, very simply, is the price. At over $1,300 for a phone, I'm left wondering this year, are there just too many trade-offs? With a list of frustrations like that, you'd be thinking that I've taken my SIM card out and put it back in my S25 Ultra, but here's the thing, what Samsung gets right makes the S26 Ultra feel pretty elite. So here are the 10 things that are keeping the S26 Ultra in my pocket. And number 1 is the real world battery life. I was really happy with my S25 Ultra, but the S26 Ultra is even better, despite the very same 5,000 mAh battery. I'm yet to have a day where it's failed me despite using the cameras heavily and checking YouTube stats 24/7. It's so good that I don't think I can physically use up all the battery in a single day. Which leads me to number 2, the 60-watt charging does make a measurable difference. Being able to get over 75% battery from nothing within 30 minutes is a game changer for me. Because the battery life is so good, I'm no longer charging my S26 overnight, which means a quick top up during the day is pretty essential. However, I will just pivot to a quick caveat here. Now, obviously Samsung still don't include the charger in the box, and you need a very specific charger to get those 60-watt speeds. But if you go to Samsung's website, their prices are absolutely ridiculous. So I'll link a cheaper charger that can get the full speeds in a pinned comment for you. Anyway, number 3 is the versatile camera setup, and I completely acknowledge that Samsung is slipping behind a little bit, but the S26 Ultra is still one of the most versatile camera setups out there. The new Horizon Lock feature is honestly wizardry. The aperture upgrades over the S25 Ultra do make a difference, and with the new APV support for practically lossless video, I mean, I'm really happy. And for number 4, I'm still going to go on about the cameras, because if you have camera assist, Samsung has now added the 24 megapixel option to the main camera app. It's a really important move because it creates the perfect balance between quality and not taking over your phone's storage, and no one's talking about this. And equally, no one's really talking about number 5, Samsung DeX. Plug into a monitor or even go wireless with your TV now, you can get up to 4 desktops and 20 apps from your phone. When you pair that with some XR glasses, you can remote into your home desktop via Parsec and edit 4K video on the go. It's a completely unique feature that barely any other phone on the market has, and it's even better now because of the new Snapdragon chip. And number 6 is a very small quality of life upgrade, but it does make a difference. Samsung have now reverse engineered Apple's AirDrop, meaning you can now send files between your Apple and Samsung devices. I'm a MacBook user, I'll be honest, but everything else is Samsung. It's always been a pain to transfer files in the past, but Samsung have fixed that now. Number 7 is one I touched on at the beginning, and that's the ergonomics of the S26 Ultra. Although I do gravitate to the look of the traditional Note design, I can't deny the S26 Ultra's slightly more rounded corners and thinner body do sit better in the hand by some margin. It is a more comfortable phone to hold in the hand compared to the S25 Ultra. And number 8 is probably the thing that I'm most happy with on the S26 Ultra, and it's something that reviewers tend not to talk about these days, and that is simply how it functions as a phone. We've got call assist, one-tap recording, and even call screening, which for me is the biggest quality of life improvement. Just see how Bixby handled this call.
Please say who you are and why you're calling.
Hello, it's Jenny. I'm just calling from Instaloft. Just a quick call following your recent inquiry. Please give us a call back.
It's crazy that an AI feature is genuinely saving me time and a bit of a headache without me having to do anything. On top of this, the subtle AI features that are going on in the background, like Now Nudge and Now Brief, something that I actually criticized last year, they're genuinely helping me keep on top of my life. And for point number 9, I do genuinely feel it's the smallest things making the biggest impact on the S26 Ultra. This year, the S26 Ultra's vibration motors just seem a little bit tighter and more precise in comparison to the S25, and overall, it just makes the whole experience feel a little bit more upmarket. And number 10 is the long-term value proposition, and I know that I complained about the price tag earlier, but there is a flip side. When you combine that insanely powerful Snapdragon Elite chip with 7 full years of software updates, the cost per year math actually starts to make sense. This phone won't be obsolete until 2033, and when you step back and realize it can genuinely replace a laptop for a lot of people, it does go a long way for justifying the cost. But going a long way isn't necessarily enough. If you're spending over $1,300, you need it to go all the way. But what I will say is that calculating whether the S26 Ultra is actually worth it has very little to do with the $1,300 price tag and everything to do with the phone that you're currently holding in your hand. And I'll just say this, if I was a new user jumping into the S26 Ultra from say an iPhone 13, I'd be absolutely over the moon. You've got an incredibly versatile set of cameras for all scenarios, an extremely powerful and efficient processor that does go a long way to justifying the price. And when you're just judging the S26 Ultra on its own and not comparing it to the previous generation, things like the display being a little bit worse kind of start to feel a bit obsolete. But that being said, if you're inside the Samsung ecosystem and have anything from an S24 Ultra up, and maybe even the S23 Ultra, it gets pretty hard to justify making the leap. Because crucially, a lot of the things that I just pointed out about the S26 Ultra as being big positives are all things that Galaxy phone owners are going to get anyway for free via software updates. In a nutshell, if we judge the S26 Ultra on its own, it is a brilliant phone, and yes, you should go out and buy one. You're probably not going to regret it. But if you're thinking about upgrading, things get a little bit more complicated, and it very much depends on your specific financial situation. And I cover some of those specific scenarios in my S25 Ultra versus S26 Ultra video. See you in the next one.